This year, Xbox One owners and Windows 10 Store users have been blessed with a steady stream of Sega's fantastic Yakuza games coming to those platforms. Starting with Yakuza 0 at the end of February, Yakuza Kiwami near the end of April, and now Yakuza Kiwami 2 here near the end of July. Those looking to play can either purchase the game for $20 US or just download it as part of Xbox Game Pass if they're subscribed to the service. I'll be talking about the base Xbox One version of Yakuza Kiwami 2 today under the assumption that you've already experienced those two earlier titles. If you're an Xbox or PC owner looking for a Yakuza game to hop in on as a first-time player, go check out my video from when Yakuza 0 released a few months back, or better yet, don't watch it and just go play the game. It's fantastic, and within a few hours you'll be hooked. This video is instead for those who have made their way through those games and are either wondering if they should purchase Kiwami 2 now, or for those who are already downloading it as part of Game Pass and just need to kill some time until the download finishes. If you're not in those groups and are watching anyway, or just don't know, Yakuza Kiwami 2 is a from-the-ground-up remake of Yakuza 2, which was initially released for the PlayStation 2 in 2006. Kiwami 2 is set in 2006, much like the original game, and follows up on the events of Yakuza Kiwami, which was a remake of the first Yakuza, released in and taking place in 2005. But whereas Yakuza Kiwami was built in the same engine Yakuza 0 was developed in, Yakuza Kiwami 2 evolves the Dragon engine that debuted with Yakuza 6. The Dragon engine reduces the frame rate to a maximum of 30 frames per second, again on a base Xbox One at least, but the positives to that trade-off are instantaneous transitions in and out of buildings, a more physics-based fighting system that shakes up the gameplay quite a bit, and just overall looking so much better. Yakuza 0 and Yakuza Kiwami were also developed as last-generation PS3 games in Japan, so finally being unshackled from those limitations and being able to fully strive to take advantage of the modern console hardware benefits the visuals greatly. It doesn't always look so hot in certain daytime settings, but walking around the game's brightly lit environments at night and just taking in everything going on, I really think it just looks splendid. If you're just rolling in off of Yakuza Kiwami, the gameplay itself will take some readjusting, but I found the transition worthwhile ultimately. That said, another gameplay change you'll need to adjust to is that Kiryu only has one fighting style this go round. Unlike the prior two games where you can switch on the fly between balanced, fast, and slower crowd control styles, everything has been condensed into one collection of combos, moves, and finishers. You still chain combos consisting of light and heavy attacks, as well as utilizing objects in the environment and sometimes even the environment itself, but gone are the days of rush and beast stances. You'll find that Kiryu's hits bounce off of enemies that block now, and until you've unlocked a few new moves and better stats, it might seem like you're not making much headway in fights at first. Ultimately, as a series veteran, I still find that I prefer the stance switching, but it only takes a couple of hours before Kiwami 2's combat really starts to make a case for itself and feels more fun and engaging as it goes on. You'll level up with XP that's doled out in different categories. Completing missions, sub-stories, completion lists, eating foods, and other activities will all reward you with points across the board. You'll then be able to go through 4 tabs of unlockable upgrades and decide for yourself what you want to focus on. Maybe you'll pour points into increasing the amount of experience points you get, or just go directly to beefing up Kiryu's attack, health, and defense and worry about the rest later. Perhaps you'll upgrade Kiryu's stomach, don't ask me how that works, so he can eat more, thus letting you complete more restaurant checklists and get more experience while you get experience from eating along the way. But don't forget about the new combos and finishing moves you can also unlock along the way. I just want to say that, for the record, I spent 85 hours getting the Platinum Trophy in this game on PS4, but coming into this fresh save file on Xbox One, the allure of completion lists and leveling up Kiryu addicted me all over again. It's a really fun system, where everything from winning matches in Virtua Fighter 2 to talking to certain amounts of people can all contribute toward making Kiryu more capable in battles. Everything feeds back into the main combat, and it never feels like you're wasting much of your time on side things thanks to that. And like I said, getting that Platinum Trophy took me 85 hours. Rest assured that if Yakuza Kiwami 2 grabs you, it has plenty to keep you occupied. Golfing challenges, crane games, virtual lawn in the arcade, darts, pool, gambling, karaoke, minigames involving urine, there are literally dozens of hours you can whiz away engaging in side activities. Not everything returns from Yakuza 0 and Kiwami. Where this is a new engine, not all of the minigames have been recreated, but Kiwami 2 is no slouch in this department and still manages to have a much more fair-feeling achievement set due to what's being asked of a player here. My favorite side activity though really is just exploring these cities, walking through stores, telling men that I peacocked their mothers, and taking in the sights while helping a barely clothed man take artistic photos as we both scream in unison. If you couldn't get enough of the goofier aspects of this series up until now, rest assured, this game has more than enough to pacify you. On top of all of that, the main story is arguably the best in the series too. I really don't like talking much about plot in videos like this one, as they're intended for those who want to experience it themselves, and not those looking for an in-depth critical analysis, but I have to find myself mostly agreeing with that notion, though I might still have to give the edge to Yakuza 0 overall. Kiwami 2's story isn't always consistently fantastic. Sometimes it's slow, sometimes it clearly drags on more than it needs to, sometimes dumb, contrived things happen, and by the end there's been so many double crosses between characters that they've essentially tied the story like a shoelace, and yet I'm still so entertained that I'm just honestly not that bothered by it. The returning characters are fun to watch, and the new characters like Kaoru are strong and leave an impression, and the game's villain, Ryuji Goda, is just fun to butt heads with because he's not like anyone seen in the series chronologically yet. He gets his way through raw power with a charisma that transcends the language barrier and commands every scene he's in. Even when the cinematography of a cutscene is clumsy or just so textbook bad that it's actually brilliant, if he's there, it's awesome. Most of the cutscenes are actually shot-for-shot recreations of the original games, and by the time you roll credits, you'll be able to appreciate just how much loftier the team's narrative ambitions were, coming hot off the heels of the first game. It's an absolute highlight. That said, a new narrative element that necessitates talking about is included, the Majima Saga. As you play through the game, you'll unlock 3 short chapters where you play as the man in the eye patch himself, and sort of find out what he's been up to since the last game. However, this is where I need to give a PSA. If you skipped Yakuza 0 anyway for any reason, do not play these until you have finished that game. It outright spoils some of the major story beats from that game, and 0 deserves to be experienced on its own as it happens. On top of that, it's just sort of a lukewarm affair. With the intention of it being so short, these chapters are mostly dry with little depth to them. It's cool to play as Majima and use some of the moves he used in 0 and uses against you as boss fights in other games, but I walked away from it still feeling like it didn't really add much to the game. It's cool that it's here, and I guess I'd rather have it than not, but it's the sort of thing where you finish it and just kinda wish that it was so much more than it actually is. Also, the other suggestion I'll give is to consider waiting until you've unlocked all 3 chapters, and then just play through them all at once. You could play them as you unlock them, but it takes away even further from their novelty and just reduces the entire affair even more. Other than that though, what's here in Yakuza Kiwami 2 is mostly fantastic. There are areas where it's rough around the edges. A lot of surfaces and materials exhibit a lot of shimmering that sometimes becomes hard to ignore. The game's frame rate feels choppier here than I remember it being, and while the Dragon Engine's combat holds its own, controlling Kiryu himself still feels weird sometimes. Like you're controlling a really heavy RC car with no brakes. Trust me, the game has plenty of weird quirks, but they very rarely get in the way of the action, and sometimes result in hilarity to balance it out. If you've seen my review of the PS4 version on GameXplain back when it came out, my feelings are still the same. Yakuza Kiwami 2 is still a fantastic game, and in my opinion is really only rivaled by Yakuza 0 and Judgment for being the best entry. But again, that's just my own personal feeling. If Xbox One is the platform you have to play on, or if you've already played the game and just need an excuse to go through it fresh again and grab some achievements along the way, it's hard to go wrong here. I was really happy to see that the game still holds up a couple years later, and it's made me more confident that it will stand the test of time. So, what comes next? Well, earlier this year, Yakuzas 3 through 5 saw remastered releases on PS4. Not ground-up remakes like these Kiwami titles, but touched-up versions of those older games. While we don't currently know if or when those will come to Xbox and PC, it seems pretty likely that it will. I have a video on them I'll link down below if you want to check those out. Barring a surprise announcement in the meantime though, the next Yakuza release is Yakuza Like a Dragon, which will be coming to Xbox One and Xbox Series X when that console launches. In Japan, the game is called Yakuza 7 and stars a completely new protagonist, as well as completely shifting the genre over to being a turn-based Japanese role-playing game. I've heard it carries on some plot threads from Yakuza 6, so I'm more timid about saying you'll be fine just jumping into it when it comes out, but you'll probably be fine just jumping into it when it comes out, even if you're only able to play 0, Kiwami, and Kiwami 2 by then. But we'll see. Are you digging into Yakuza Kiwami 2 for the first time? Are you excited for Yakuza Like a Dragon's genre shift? Let me know down below. Also, my YouTube arch nemesis the Golden Bolt keeps telling me I should do a video ranking the Yakuza series, so if you're interested in that, let me know, subscribe, and maybe I'll get to it. Anyway, thank you so much for your time, and I hope you enjoy your time with Yakuza Kiwami 2. Do take care. I'd like to thank Sega for the review copy, as well as my patrons for also making this video possible. Special shoutouts, of course, to Goldstorm07, Buckles Chucklow, Jeet, Calico Plus, The Crazy Even, The Legend of Groose, Patrick Thompson, Sven Delica, and Wolf Chaoson. Y'all keep me going. Thank you.